All right, let's get started. Today we're going to be discussing building location-aware Salesforce applications that integrate with Bluetooth beacons. My name is Scott Covert. I am a certified Salesforce admin and developer, and I've been working on the platform since 2010. Before we dive into the code today and the demos, I just want to reiterate that everything you're going to see is already published on my GitHub page. So feel free after the talk to go in and dive deeper into the code if you'd wish. There are three main takeaways that I hope everyone can leave today's talk with. The first is Bluetooth Low Energy, what it is and how it works. The second, how it applies to the Internet of Things craze that we're going through right now. And most importantly of all, how Bluetooth Low Energy can be leveraged to build your own location-aware Salesforce applications. So for today's talk, we're going to be following the narrative that we're running our own Salesforce apparel store. And unbeknownst to either of us, one of our loyal customers, Astro, walks by our storefront every single day on his commute to work. Let's also assume that we just got a new shipment of inventory, and we're really anxious to push our latest hoodie onto Astro. So there are two main challenges that we're going to have to solve in order to meet this goal. The first is we need to figure out where in the world Astro is, and the second, how we can use that information to better enable us to sell him a hoodie. All right, so let's talk about some of the technology that's going to help us with problem number one. Bluetooth Low Energy essentially is just a power-friendly version of Bluetooth. It enhances the location awareness that GPS provides by also enabling proximity detection. So a lot of people are probably aware that GPS generally works by your phone communicating with 3 or more satellites orbiting the Earth at known positions so that your general location can be triangulated. So Bluetooth Low Energy takes that same concept but brings it down to Earth's surface. Instead of your phone now interacting with GPS satellites, it's interacting with beacons that are emitting Bluetooth signals. This is important because it makes location awareness possible even if you're 3 stories underground in a parking garage. If you have a beacon network set up, then you're going to be able to provide location awareness and proximity detection for your users. iBeacon is a Bluetooth Low Energy protocol that Apple developed to allow iOS developers to embed proximity detection within their applications. So it makes it possible for your iOS device to interact with any hardware that's emitting a Bluetooth signal. Google also has their own protocol known as Eddystone, but today's talk is going to be focusing on iBeacon specifically. Finally, estimates. There are a number of different manufacturers creating Bluetooth Low Energy beacons. I particularly really like estimates because they offer a very easy to use SDK. But essentially, they have built-in antennas and they're broadcasting radio signals that smart devices within range are able to receive and respond accordingly to. So how is this relevant? Well, in a few moments, you're going to see an application that leverages iBeacon to communicate with Estimote beacons so that we can interact with our customers and pull in Salesforce data in real time. Before I jump into the demo and code samples, I want to talk about the 2 main use cases for interacting with Bluetooth Low Energy. The first is known as ranging. Ranging essentially is a constant polling of your proximity relative to a beacon. So you can get immediate information of you're 10 feet away, 8 feet away, 14 feet away. A good use case for this is if you have, let's say our apparel store were a mammoth store, such as a Macy's, and customers were prone to getting lost, you could embed an app inside your device so that a customer could pull out their phone and figure out their proximity relative to the actual section of the store they're looking for. The second main use case for interacting with Bluetooth Low Energy is known as region monitoring. What region monitoring does is it notifies users when they come within range or when they just leave range of a beacon. And what's really cool about region monitoring is it actually can work in background mode. So a use case for region monitoring is you might have a beacon set up at your storefront, and then customers that have your app, when they walk by your store, could get a push notification, hopefully to get them to come in and actually buy merchandise. All right, so let's take a look at ranging and then region monitoring. So I built a very basic Ionic application. Ionic is a framework built on top of Cordova PhoneGap and the Angular front-end framework to make it possible to write hybrid applications that'll run in both Android and iOS. You'll see it's very basic. Here we have our home page that's just waiting for us to determine what mode we want to run in. Now, if I start ranging, what it's going to do is give me my proximity relative to this yellow beacon here that is representing our hoodie section in the store. So if I hit start ranging, we're going to get a notification that we're now near the beacon. And if I move it right on top, you can see it changes to immediate. So again, this could be a good use case for getting immediate feedback on how close you are to the actual section of the store you're looking for. All right, region monitoring. So you'll notice this pink beacon that I have here is turned upside down. That's because I have a feature enabled on this Estimote that when it's upside down, it will not emit a signal. So when I start monitoring, when we go back to the home page, we should first see that we're out of range. But if I flip it over, we should see that we're in range right away. So let's just dive into the code. Essentially, we're emitting events for ranging and region monitoring that our application responds in turn to. So you can see here we set our event to be equal to the proximity being returned by the ranging event that's being emitted. And that in turn determines what icon we're going to display and the text that we see on the main screen. So we're going to see either immediate, near, far, or unknown for when we're ranging. And then we're going to see that volume icon go from high, medium, to low. Monitoring is very similar, except there's really only two states, in range and out of range. And so when a monitoring event is emitted, we check that state and see if it's inside the range. And if it is, we're going to have an open eye icon. And if it's not, we're going to see that closed eye icon you saw before. Okay, so hopefully that shows you kind of how we can use some Bluetooth low energy technology to figure out where our customers are. And that's really cool from a technical standpoint, but the bottom line is we want to figure out how we can leverage this to actually make more sales, right? How we can improve their customer experience. So let's enable Salesforce mode on the application, and then we're going to be pulling in data specifically from our Salesforce instance. So first I want to show our Salesforce instance. You can see here, I already have a contact record built for Astro. We're tracking his check-ins to our store, which in turn affects what kind of customer tier he's on and what kind of discount we might be offering him on future sales. What I want you to focus on here, though, is that we have this opportunity for the Salesforce hoodie that we'd like him to purchase. And if I open up that opportunity, you're going to see a name and description here. For Salesforce hoodie and Astro, you have to buy the new Salesforce hoodie right now. It's a little aggressive, but when we have Salesforce mode enabled, what we're going to see is this opportunity information returns in a pop-up when we come within immediate proximity to this beacon, or when we come within range if we're region monitoring. So let's start ranging, and then let's turn on Salesforce mode. Oh, let me move my screen back so you can see. And we're going to see this pop up, and you can see that it matches the opportunity information that we were looking at before. Now, how this is working is when Salesforce mode is enabled, we're doing a call out to an Apex REST endpoint that does a SOCL query for opportunity information matching the contact ID that's passed in. And just to show that this isn't canned, let's go ahead and change this opportunity information. I think it's a little aggressive, so maybe let's just change it to today. Let's save that. Let's go back to our app, and let's go into region monitoring mode now. Now with region monitoring, when we're in range, we should receive a push notification that matches the opportunity information that you saw before. And you can see it's been updated to today rather than right now. Here's that Apex REST endpoint that I mentioned a moment ago. You can see basically it receives a contact ID that matches Astro's contact record ID in Salesforce, and it also receives beacon information that he actually checked into. And that's used to track mobile activity, and it's also used to pull down any open opportunities to make sure that we're sending him personalized messages to hopefully get him to buy merchandise at our store. Now, that's really cool, but you probably heard in Mark's keynote yesterday that he also discussed how we can be leveraging customer information for our sales reps. So he discussed, I think, going into a Louis Vuitton store, and they knew right away that he had just bought a suit, that he had a new watch. This is possible if Astro walks into our store. We can have a push notification going to our sales reps too, so they have more information on what Astro's preferences are, what he most recently purchased, what they should be trying to discuss with him while he's in the store. So you can see there's a number of different things you could be tracking in your Salesforce org. Maybe you want to be having, maybe you want to have a dashboard that shows all the different check-ins around your stores. Perhaps you want to see what kind of foot traffic you get at one storefront relative to another, or perhaps you're considering opening a brand new store. You could place a beacon at a proposed site, and then be tracking customers that have your app to see how likely they are to be walking by that storefront. It's a little bit creepy, but it's technically possible. Maybe you just want to be tracking number of check-ins among your different contacts and for some sort of a loyalty reward program. It's all possible. So speaking of a loyalty reward program, let's go back to Astro's contact record. And again, from before, you're going to see that he had 24 mobile check-ins. But because we just checked in a moment ago, that should now have updated to 25. Hopefully, we'll bump up his customer tier from Gold to Platinum and offer him better savings going forward. OK, so you can see now that the mobile check-ins has incremented, and the flash sale discount has increased from 15% to 20% for Astro. So we've also built Lightning Quick Action here for flash sale, and when this is hit, we call out an Aura-enabled method that just sends a push notification containing personalized information for Astro to offer him that flash sale discount. So let's open up our application. I'm going to hit flash sale. And then I'm going to go back to our application, and in a moment we should see a push notification offering Astro 20% off all purchases that he makes today. OK, so hopefully now, not only can you see how Bluetooth Low Energy is used to figure out where your customers are, but you can also see how it can be leveraged to help create a better experience for them and help you actually make more sales. Again, just some of the key takeaways I hope you were able to leave today with. I hope you all have a better understanding of what Bluetooth Low Energy is and how it applies to IoT. Most importantly of all, though, I hope now you feel a little more confident to go home and think of ideas how you can build location-aware Salesforce applications for your own instances. Again, all the information, all the code that you saw today is on my GitHub profile. Please feel free to check that out. If you have any questions after the conference, also please feel free to shoot me a message. I want to thank everybody for coming out. I hope you have a great Dreamforce. Thanks very much.